The Curse is a television show created by Nathan Fielder and Benny Sadfi in 2023. So it's been out for a while. There's been lots of general discussion about the show, but I just wanted to make a video about one character, Cara. Um, I guess there will be spoilers in this video. I think if you still have the free trial for Paramount Plus, it's worth it to get the free trial, watch The Curse, and then immediately cancel the trial, which is what I did back then. So yeah, I want to talk about the one character that I was the most drawn to in the series, apart from the three main people, of course. And Kara is introduced as Whitney's friend, but their relationship, um, sort of a business relationship. Whitney, who is played by Emma Stone, wants Kara to sign this release that allows her to use her Native American art in the show and have Kara be a cultural consultant. And Whitney's behavior seems kind of gross because it kind of seems that she wants the appearance of the community accepting her and her new homes. And Kara is also reluctant to accept the offer because Whitney's parents are controversial real estate moguls. And Whitney even lies about where she got the money. She claims that the show would pay Kara for being a consultant and using the art, when in reality it's from she got the money from her parents. And when Kara reluctantly agrees to the arrangement, you got all these amazing cringe scenes of Whitney asking Kara for compliments on the show. And I think what makes the show interesting is that Whitney legitimately believes what she's doing is good. Her goals are selfless, but in reality, her getting the credit is just as important, if not more important, than actually improving the lives of the people that are there. She's also not aware of the power imbalance between herself and Kara and actually the other side characters too. And to briefly talk about the show overall, I don't think the show is about how gentrification or like these green houses are inherently bad. It's more about how people are self-obsessed and are desperately trying to validate themselves in like different ways. And there's a movie called All My Friends Hate Me, and that kind of has parallel like themes, or kind of makes me feel the same way, even though the subject matter is completely different. But anyways, the relationship that Kara and Whitney have kind of reflect the same types of relationship that Kara has with people who buy her art or consume her art, I guess, in order for her to continue creating more. By the end of the series, we figure out that Kara has actually tried to make art about different things that no one was interested in. And so she started to make these Native American kind of pieces or related pieces, and specifically only about the harm brought by outsiders to Native Americans. I think I could be wrong, but there were no pieces about Native American culture separate from like the interaction with outsiders, like colonizers, and Whitney and these other consumers are only supporting this to feel good about themselves. Like they might not actually care about any of these issues. Although I'm not an artist, I did think of one memory I had while watching the show. When I was in high school, I had to write an essay about something something in culture or like religion, community, or something else that would have impact in my life. And the teacher actually gave an example of the perfect essay for this assignment. And it happened to be happened to be written by a Korean student who, had conservative values, lived in a nuclear home, had one working parent, Christian, I had a brother who liked sports and cars, and she listened to Korean pop music, and it was a kind of slice of life story. I remember feeling really like comfortable because I quickly realized that the teacher was not sharing this sample essay to talk about the style, the structure, and maybe how like some parts are very good. You reveal something about yourself like that doesn't actually have your experience. Um, she was really trying to say like write a story about your culture that I already have in my head, and I'm sure the story is real. Like I think could think of a couple of friends that might they could relate to the story. However, my experience with my community, my family, religion, it's very different. You might not associate some of the things that I experienced with the Korean experience or whatever. But I wanted to write a story that was real. I think I wrote about my grandmother and her impact on me. I got, I got a C on that paper with no comments or feedback. It didn't really matter. And Dapper, if you're watching this, this is the same teacher who gave a speech on it's okay to blame women for being raped sometimes. And this teacher was problematic for a lot of reasons. But anyways, there is a little bit of similarity between Kara's experiences and I guess like my one memory. Like you have to decide on, showcasing your genuine self and like what you think is important versus, what other people think should be important to you. And, as an artist, only one of those things might be the viable, commercially viable thing. I've never seen a show that directly showcases this. Maybe for books, I could think of Native Speaker, which is my favorite book of all time. Maybe I'll make a video on that. But yeah, I've never seen a movie or show like that directly talks about this. And of course, I have to talk about the amazing climax of Kara's plotline, which is the exhibit she hosts, and she only invites self-aggrandizing pricks. And the main part of it is that a tent, and each person lines up, and they go in the tent one by one, and Kara's inside. She slices off a piece of turkey onto a plate, gives it to them, screams, and then tells the participant to not talk to anyone outside. And this is so that the participant can't make themselves feel good by talking about the exhibit to the others. And so they're just they're just walking around in silence, like uncomfortably, not understanding what they had just seen. It's it's one of the funniest scenes in the entire show. And obviously the turkey Americans, we think of Thanksgiving for Native Americans, and then we associate that with turkey. And Kara eventually she explicitly says to Whitney that the meaning of the turkey is that she's tearing off a piece of herself, whether she likes it or not. Whether or not the other person eats the turkey is up to them, and not really under her own control. And Whitney still doesn't understand, even though Kara just gives a very very clear explanation. And the exhibit is essentially her revenge. The true exhibit are the people walking around, and Kara is the only observer, and that's also why she feels uncomfortable that she invited one Native American person that she didn't want to, and it's an amazing scene. It's probably the best scene that's not that doesn't include Nathan Fielder and Benny Sadby. And I'm surprised there hasn't been as much discussion about Kara as the other side characters. I found some text posts about how people hate Cara and say she's a grifter, shallow, or the depiction of her is racist because she's not a flawless character, but in a strange way, the comments, like the way that these commenters treat Cara, is similar to the way the people in the show think about, Cara. They don't, they refuse to see Cara as just an individual who might not fit in with their preconceived beliefs of how a person in her group should be. While looking for other posts about Cara, I found this YouTube channel called Open Book, and the video maker, has trained in art and is in the art world. So her perspective on Cara and the artwork itself was interesting. I think she offered the most fair critique of Cara that I've seen so far online. I recommend seeing that video. I've never seen an interview of Nazania Loxi Austin, who is the actress who plays Cara. But according to her IMDb, the only movie credit she has is playing a Native American person 5 years before The Curse was released, which makes me think that maybe she was interested in the role of The Curse because it reflects her real life experience of trying to be an actress. That's all speculation. I don't know anything about this person, but because this is a Nathan Fielder show, I probably wouldn't count it out. Yeah, that's all I have to say about Cara, The Curse. Again, if you have free trial for Paramount Plus, definitely worth it to get that, watch The Curse, and then immediately cancel it because Paramount Plus is kind of a garbage service. Anyways, bye.